Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. First of all, I want to let you guys know there is a thunderstorm passing through again tonight, and there was one last night, so you probably heard it if you watched last night's video in the background, and my microphone seems to be really good at picking that up. But that's just a side note. On to the topic of the video. Now, Alexee Trevizo was set to actually go to trial on July 22nd. It has now been moved to August 6th, okay? So that's been moved out until August. I think that this has a lot to do with the state. They are appealing what the judge approved, having all of that evidence thrown out, all the body cam and what have you. Remember when we had the motions hearing late last year, how Gary Mitchell argued all that, and the judge actually gave it to the defense. So I'm going to go through the Law and Crime article because obviously I'm not a legal expert, so they explain it much better than I could. Alright, so this is Law and Crime, and they actually put this up, wow, it's like last week I think it was. I saw it, I just hadn't had a chance to go through it yet. But the title of the article is Woman Accused of Killing and Dumping Newborn in Hospital Trash May See Her Big Court Victory Reversed as Prosecutors Push to Reinstate Key Evidence. Now, remember I went through this in a previous video, how they... how Mitchell won, well, supposedly, at this point, he won that, but the state's pushing back, and I'm really glad that they are, although I don't know how far this is going to get them. So let's just go through the article on Law and Crime, and we can discuss that. A New Mexico woman accused of murdering her newborn in a hospital bathroom when she was a teenager recently won a significant legal victory, and now the state is looking to undo that win, all but certainly pushing back a trial that was set to begin next month. So again, this got pushed out due to this whole appeal. Alexee Trevizo, 20, has appeared in court exactly once so far. That was her motions hearing in August of 2023. During that appearance, her defense attorney, Gary C. Mitchell, successfully argued for the suppression of some key pieces of evidence the state had planned to use against her. In response, District Attorney Diana Luce, who represents Eddy, Lea, and Chaves counties in the Land of Enchantment, has asked the state's highest court to salvage the high-profile case. The defense's successful suppression of the evidence reaches a great deal of what prosecutors likely would have presented to jurors. So this is a lot of stuff that they wanted to show the jury, and they're like, here it is. We got it all wrapped up for you in a bow. First, the defense argued the strong patient-physician privilege under New Mexico law prohibits the prosecution from using of almost all of what happened at the Artesia Hospital back in January 2023, except for the basic fact of staff reporting the dead infant found in the trash can. So, all of that stuff from before she locked herself in the bathroom, it's gone, unless they win this appeal. Now, the privilege applies from the time she went to the hospital, and it applies to everybody there, Mitchell said last year. Everything that takes place from the time she went to the hospital, everything the doctor and nurses said. They could not give that out to police without a waiver from my client, and we didn't waive it. Mitchell was clear that the suppression request was broad. Anything that happens at Artesia Hospital, he stated. So he was just putting it all out there going, it is all not usable. That was his argument. In the end, 5th Judicial Judge, District Judge Jane Gray, essentially agreed with the defense on the medical privilege issue. And that's been a huge knock to the state's case, obviously. Second, Mitchell argued his client was effectively detained by the hospital on behalf of law enforcement. In fact, a doctor at the hospital waited until 2 police officers had arrived to ask Trevizo about what happened in the bathroom. This, a defense attorney claimed, was a violation of the woman's Miranda rights under the Fourth Amendment. I can see both sides of that, okay? Because the doctor and the staff was trying to cover their ass. They just found a dead baby in the bathroom. And that's murder. Okay, she's in a hospital. I mean, why the hell didn't she pull the cord, hit the button, open the door, anything? She didn't do a damn thing, as we know. Now, the court agreed with that argument as well. While many specifics are known due to various nationally publicized clips from the body-worn camera footage, the case is under a court seal. Yeah, we pretty much, what we know is what we were, all those body cams and all those interviews. Everything else is sealed. We have no access to it. And that was done on purpose because of the high profile of this case. Still, the prosecutor discussed the appeal in comments to local media this week, broadly outlining the state's latest sets of arguments in comments to Albuquerque-based CBS Fox affiliate KRQE. All I can say is that obviously it was evidence that we believe was proper, evidence that we believe should be allowed to be used, and we respectfully disagree with the court, Lucy stated. During last summer's hearing, the state did not contest the strength of the patient-doctor privilege, but rather said it did not apply. The defendant's mother is present in the room with her at the emergency room, Lucy unsuccessfully argued before the court. You can't have a privilege if you have a third party present. So statements that are made are not going to be privileged under this rule. Remember, she was not a minor. She's 19 years old. She can have her mom there, but she wasn't a minor. The prosecutor also argued that police properly obtained the hospital's medical records through a court order. They did go through all that. Granted, we've got the body cam, and we all know the defense team is pissed that that's all on body cam. Gray initially signaled that both sides would have things to like and dislike about her eventual decision on the suppression motion and asked for additional briefing on the matter. The state, it seems, disliked the court's evidentiary ruling quite a bit more. Well, yeah, she's throwing out all this evidence. She just tossed it out the door. I mean, this is vital stuff. I mean, I know that there's a lot more, but look at all that evidence that they have that at this point the court is saying, no, you can't tell this to a jury. Is this really just a medical issue that is private and confidential, or were there some type of actions that rise to the level of criminal intent? Lucy rhetorically asked the TV station while aiming to skirt the confines of the seal on the case. And then she answered her own question. So, we believe it rises to the level of criminal intent. There is no telling if or when the New Mexico Supreme Court will take up the question and issue its own answer on the matter. A pretrial hearing in the case was slated for later this month. Trial was slated to begin in late August. Now those dates are in doubt. And as we know, this was put up before the 12th, so we have had changed dates. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets pushed out even further due to this Supreme Court appeal. The baby boy was born and died on January 27th, 2023. On March 28th, 2023, an autopsy determined his death was a homicide, though the defense has contested the examination process as medieval. On May 10th, 2023, Trevizo was charged, then arrested the next day. She was released 5 days later and is currently out on bail, which we know she's been going to college. So again, I don't know if they're going to win this appeal with the Supreme Court, but I'm very interested to see what happens, because this is going to be big for also future cases like this. And, you know, we just saw the whole issue with the Alec Baldwin case get tossed out. Of course, that was due to Brady violations and what have you, with the prosecutor's office and such. But New Mexico, it seems to be pretty difficult on getting convictions, and not to mention Alexee's attorney, Gary Mitchell. He is one tough attorney. He's gotten a lot of people off. His record is very good, and that doesn't matter whether we like him or not. He's got an impeccable record as a defense attorney. So I'm going to start going back through the interviews that I started about a week or so ago. And now that we have some more time, I think it's going to be at least a month, even though they're stating August. I don't even know if we're going to get that. But, so I'll start going back through those and considering this whole appeal pending with the Supreme Court. And we'll see what comes of it. Again, I think if it gets accepted by the Supreme Court to be heard, definitely the August 26th trial is probably not going to happen. But again, we've seen so many of these trials lately continually get pushed out and pushed out. And as far as I'm concerned, I want justice for this baby. And Alexee, in my opinion, she murdered her child. And that deserves, to be answered for. And at this point, she hasn't answered for that. But we shall see what the state gets if they, get to be heard. And as always, I'll keep you guys apprised. I will continue to go back through the interviews with the hospital staff in the coming days. And if there's anything specific on the case that you'd like to hear about, let me know. I do have an entire playlist on Alexee, so I will link to that in the information of this video. But until then, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.